car's waiting right outside by the curb.
I had the chance to catch Smile 2 in cinemas right before it was released at home. And in a year filled with some amazing horror films, I walked into the theaters with some decently high expectations. But suffice to say, Smile 2 did not disappoint. If you've watched the film, then you've likely noticed the awkwardness and uneasiness of each frame. There's a sense of symmetry that accompanies the feelings of forced comfort. In fact, one of the more repetitive shots places Sky in the center of the frame. It creates an uncanny effect within the context of a horror film. It additionally allows for an unsettling amount of negative space in the background. You can see a similar technique used in Oz Perkins' Longlegs earlier this year, intentionally leaving room to scare the audience but never actually committing to it. This only works if the environment or the atmosphere is presented as violent or malicious. Longlegs works because the film's inherently violent and mysterious. A tool that's more unique to Smile 2 is the wide length of portraits. You can go as wide as 35mm, which allows for a larger field of view, making the entity feel more present as it could be anywhere. Coincidentally, it makes the entity's smile only more sinister as it looks more elongated, placing it right in the uncanny valley. By combining the stressful environment and the framing of each shot, you create a sense of paranoia that refuses to let you go. While Smile 2 may not present such an immediate threat in the first half, it masterfully utilizes the unreliability of what we see to create tension. Is this girl smiling because she's happy? And what could possibly make that noise? Even with Sky in the foreground, our attention is instinctively drawn to the background, scanning for threats. It's the ambiguity that keeps us at the edge of our seats. We're given far too much information, but it's too muddled up to differentiate the answers from the red herrings. Of course, this sense of unease wasn't just crafted during the specific sequences. No, it was built on the foundation of a disorienting atmosphere. Overhead and after down establishing shots distorts our perspectives and keeps us on our toes. A similar technique can be seen in Ari Aster's Midsommar when the main cast travels to the festival. The visual disorientation is a representation of the group's perspective as they drive into unfamiliar territory. Incidentally, in both films, this shot acts as a point of no return for our characters, appearing as soon as Sky inherits the entity. In Midsommar, the absurdity and the unfamiliarity of the traditional values are ultimately what turns the world upside down. Check out this scene from David Robert Mitchell's It Follows. To give context, Jay, our protagonist, has been cursed with a force that slowly creeps up to her, and it can take the body of anyone and look completely human. The shot here starts with a slow pan, showcasing the college grounds. We catch our protagonists here, moving into the other room, but the camera continues to pan onward. The music is unusual, as we don't see anything happening on screen, but it's telling us to pay attention. Until we see this. The slow pans are a clever way of building tension, constantly making us anticipate the scare, but that's not what makes them so unnerving. It's the constant uncertainty that accompanies every pan. For instance, if we were to revisit this scene. Throughout the film, we've been conditioned to pay attention to any potential threats, so when the scare is so obviously present, it only makes it scarier when the pans are slow. It's slow and provocative. There isn't any need for fast-paced editing or stingers, when cultivating sustained tension takes priority over cheesy jump scares. The camera rarely ever needs to do a lot to get our hearts racing. The opening first 7 minutes of the film, for instance, is an example of this. The scene can be separated into 5 distinct levels of tension: the hook, the rise, the chaos, the false relief, and the end. I can't show the full 7-minute clip here. I'll suggest you find the opening online and see for yourself before you continue this video. The hook is about 50 seconds long. The only thing you should notice is a slow, steady pan across to show Joel's perspective. The second level starts here, when Joel puts a mask on and a stinger plays. The breaths of air from Joel only indicate the calamity of what's to come. The handheld camera generates tension as a sense of immediacy is produced.
You're making big mistakes, you know that? Huh?
Let's go.
Yo, yo, yo!
Don't! Last January, the two of you shot an innocent mother and her kid, killed them in Newark.
Oh, yeah? Says who the fuck are you, huh?
I brought something to give you,
Uh-huh.
but you have to watch what I'm doing. You watching? No, don't die, don't die! Look at me, you motherfucker, you can't die! Damn, you piece of shit!
The tension peaks here and lasts for about 45 seconds, but it breaks as indicated by the music as it slows down. The stage here is what I refer to as false relief. The tension has climaxed and reached its resolution point. Both the dealers are dead, and Joel's plan may not have worked, but we've reached our natural conclusion. Joel is alive. You can see this in the camera work where it tries to stabilize itself and act steady.
Yo! Who the fuck is that?
A hidden cut transitions us into the final stage. The disorientation and vertigo from the sudden spike of confusion comes a moment of clarity, where we were conditioned to believe Joel would survive. It's a subversion of our expectations that create cognitive dissonance. The entity mocks us and our reliance in our perception. From the painfully slow pans that builds anticipation to the contrast between the light and the dark that we seem to lose control of, the film conditions us to believe what we're seeing is just not trustworthy. But despite all that, we have no choice but to go along for the ride, just like Sky. It's the illusion of control and free will that keeps us at the edge of our seats. The large amount of negative space controls our gaze, and whether we like it or not, we are at the will of the entity. So, the question I'd like to ask you is, are you in control?